Coming up on Tech News Today, Amazon tablet coming in New York? Not sure. Maybe. We'll talk about it. Dish takes on Netflix, and PC games will crush consoles unless a Wii can render a Grue. We'll find out if that happens next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust. This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Friday, September 23rd, 2011. Tech News Today is brought to you by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 10% off your new account for 6 months, go to Squarespace.com and use the offer code TNT9. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Iyaz Akhtar.
I'm Darren Kitchen.
I'm Jason Howell.
Sarah Lane's part being played today by Jason Howell. Wait, by Darren. Wait,
we
right,
Rochambeau'd for it. I thought I won.
No, you could never be. You're your own person. It's just Sarah's just not here. No one can replace her.
Thanks for verifying that.
Yeah,
I was getting a little concerned.
Yeah,
earlier.
you don't have to put on lipstick or talk in a high voice.
No.
That's just chapstick. It's probably a wise idea. It's very dry out.
It's 95 degrees in Petaluma.
Right before we started the show, Business Insider, which is, sometimes reliable on rumors, sometimes not, posted an internal memo from Jerry Yang to the Yahoo staff. I've done a quick scan of it. It does seem to indicate that they are, in fact, pursuing a review of what they should do with the company, which would mean they might sell it. But honestly, it looks like the kind of memo you would expect to get if you worked at Yahoo right now in the current conditions.
Yeah, there's a complete sense of uncertainty. You have to have some kind of memo. It's Friday. You want people not to panic. You're like, hey, you know what? We're looking for a CEO. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So I'm not too surprised about this memo. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It just seems to confirm that, yes, things are different at Yahoo, and we don't have a CEO, and we're looking for one.
Well, I mean, it does say we've commenced a search, and they said that before. So
yeah, exactly. So
good luck, Yahoo.
Also, breaking earlier today, Amazon sent out invites to some journalists to come to an event in New York. Where was it? Somewhere?
Stage 37 at Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen. So, nothing significant about the location.
There's everything significant about the location with Amazon.
Okay, why? What is significant? You're from New York. Can you explain what's significant about the location?
Well, I'll explain what's significant with Amazon and locations. When they introduced the Kindle, they usually do this at libraries. They rented out the Morgan Library when they released the Kindle DX and the Kindle 2.
Right.
So if they wanted to do another e-ink-based thing, you would think maybe another library, but set it up in Hell's Kitchen and Stage 30.
Obviously means they're coming out with the devil.
Apparently.
Or
Ramsey.
It's some sort of a tabletop appliance.
Yeah, or an Amazon
Something that
cookbook.
minces.
maybe
Cookbook. Yeah.
it's something to make spicy foods.
Sign me up.
But the rumor is what? It's the
Wanna go
Amazon
to Italian
tablet
restaurants.
that's been rumored for how long now?
No. Wednesday, September 20th, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That's 1400 UTC. 7 a.m. for us here in the Pacific Coast. Amazon will have a press conference and announce something. And really, we're joking about the location because they gave absolutely no hint about what they would do. Even Apple will put like some weird thing in the background or some enigmatic phrase. All this says is, please join us for an Amazon.com press conference.
Join us.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, I think you're disregarding how thin the font is on the invite. This could be a very high-res screen that could do things that you wouldn't even see on a Kindle, because a Kindle, you need to have really blocky letters. Look how thin that font is on Please Join Us. Huh? No? You're not buying it?
I bow to your superior parsing.
I'm trying.
Has anybody checked the file for steganography?
Yes, we should do some Photoshop analysis.
Are there any hints of red to maybe hint at Netflix acquisition in here?
Maybe they're coming out with a new streaming service.
Or
Maybe
it's a
they're-
cult.
The
Just
Amazon
join
on
us.
demand,
buying
maybe with a
Hulu.
subscription fee.
We have no idea what they're going to announce.
this is gonna happen
but it
on the
will be a
28th.
tablet.
Yeah.
It'll be the Kindle tablet. Come on, it can't be anything else, right? I'll be shocked.
Now that we've settled that.
We will cover this 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 1400 UTC on Wednesday, September 28th. So join us at live.twit.tv to find out what it's going to be. Dish rocked Netflix's world today with an announcement. They are going to provide a movie streaming service because they own Blockbuster. So they're taking the Blockbuster streaming service and rebundling it for $10 a month. if you're an existing Dish subscriber.
Well, then what would that cost me to become an existing Dish subscriber?
If you
I would
get
need, like, a
America's
package,
top
right?
200 package for $40 a month, you get the Blockbuster Movie Pass program for free for a year.
For a year. And then after that, it's only $50 a month,
No,
right?
well, it's $10 a month for the Movie Pass service, and then, yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm saying.
The
It's
monthly
like
service.
The
40
lowest
and then
tier
the
one
50.
is $20. So the lowest you can pay is $30 a month for 55 channels, and you get their service.
But you don't get the free Movie Pass if you buy
that's what
the
I'm saying.
lowest
It's
service.
$19.99 plus the 10, right?
Yeah.
So that's if you
You'd
do
have
that.
to-
So that's still
Okay.
cheaper than, or it's closer to the America's Top 120. So you could save $5 if you go with the 120. But the thing is, this is going to give you DVDs and video games by mail. It's going to give you a limited selection for streaming with PCs and, of course, on their Dish boxes. So the thing is this enough for people to go,
Well,
oh,
let's be absolutely clear about what they're giving you. You get DVDs and Blu-rays in the mail, so you don't have to pay extra for
And
Blu-rays.
you can
take those
for
back to Blockbuster
Netflix.
if
You get
you'd like.
3,000 games in the mail. You get 3,000 streaming movies to your television right on your Dish Network box, so you don't have to buy an extra box. You don't have to get an app on your television. You get unlimited in-store disc exchanges and 20 premium movie channels on your Dish Network box as part of the Movie Pass service. So that's saving you money because you don't have to pay extra for the movie channels. That's pretty. That is a pretty compelling offer if you are in fact already a Dish Network customer. I don't know that this is going to make anybody switch to becoming a Dish Network customer that was not already planning to do so.
Considering Netflix already has roughly 20,000 movies and TV titles in their catalog for streaming, this is versus the 3,000 plus some movie packages where you have to be sitting on a couch in front of a TV at like 7 o'clock to watch the movie. What is that?
Oh, don't forget, Dish owns Slingbox. So you could, if you have the right box, I wonder if you could sling your media right from your on-demand service right there. So if you don't have a Blockbuster app and you use a Slingbox to kind of go around that, I think you could do that with Dish.
Sure, whereas with Netflix, you don't need like a Sling box or a Dish box because it's on the Wii and the Xbox and the PS3 and the TI-83 calculator.
I'm saying that Dish has a whole lot of parts here that they can make work together if they do this right. The reason why, like I saw this morning, I'm like, okay, why are they only limiting this to just Dish Network subscribers right now? And I'm thinking they have to test it out. Can we possibly handle the bandwidth, the demand? Will this actually have a jump in our subscribers? Because there's DirecTV out there, there's Comcast, there's all kinds of cable local companies, and then there's obviously going over the top. Will this be enough to go, you know what? I could get this service for $10 and I get television. Don't forget that Netflix doesn't give you live television. You still get all kinds of like regular cable programs, like sports and live things you just don't get unless you go with an antenna solution over the air.
Well, but I think that's just kind of a silly way to. I mean, people buy Netflix because they want to cut the cord, not because.
Yeah.
I mean, or as a supplement, but they don't buy Netflix for $8 a month expecting it to have all the cable channels. So
Right.
this is actually more expensive. It just bundles in the DVDs.
Well, if you were considering whether to go with, do I go with cable and Netflix? Some people do that. Some people go, you know what? I know some people go with just Netflix and decide
Cable and Netflix is cheaper than this.
cable and Netflix is
Yeah.
cheaper. How do you?
If I get, well, let's say I go in and get DirecTV for $30 a month, and Netflix streaming costs me $8 a month.
38
Done.
versus 35.
Yeah, but then you're getting...
No, versus 40. It's $10 a month plus $39.99.
Okay,
I guess you're saying you get the
picking
free.
the plan where it's free. I'm picking the plan where it's cheapest. So
Never,
Tom,
never make your calculations based on the temporary special offer.
that's what you're doing, though.
No, that's what you're doing.
No, the $19.99 is their constant plan.
Yeah,
the regular plan plus the $10. So that's $29.99. It's $30 right there.
Well, I don't know what DirecTV's cheapest plan is to compare that to.
I'm comparing it to Dish. Dish.
but I'm just saying, it's cheaper to get Netflix. Netflix is $8 a month for streaming. Now, the only way
Yes,
it's
in
more
an
expensive
absolute
is if you
term,
want
yes.
the DVDs and the games and all of that. So it's not a direct
Wait, if you want
comparison.
DVDs and streaming, you
I
need
think
to pay.
it's silly to say that people consider buying their cable and their Netflix together. They don't.
You don't think that people would ever do that? Nobody has Netflix that has cable.
Very few people do that. Very few people consider those purchases together.
I'm saying that if you're going to decide, especially what's happening in light of Netflix, because a lot of people are like, you know what, I'm going to cut Netflix
Except
entirely.
for Web 6068. He's the only exception.
Some people are deciding to cut Netflix entirely. If they want a solution out there, this is an option now. It's not a great thing because you have to get Dish.
It's a weird option.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not your typical, like...
This is not, the scenario is usually like, gosh, I wish I could get rid of cable. What if I just went with Netflix? Oh, well, I have to pay for if I want to get DVDs, then that's an extra $8. I'd like to get rid of cable. What if I went with Blockbuster? Oh, I have to keep a satellite service.
Well, some people say cable
it's like
is just
tying
too
a big weighted rock to the thing and saying,
that's
here.
why it's for, like, you know, you're already a Dish subscriber, and then it's like, oh, hey, would you like to give us $10 more a month? Because we'd like to take $10 more a month from you.
I think it's more of a persuasion for people who are looking at whether they should get Comcast or Time Warner or Dish or DirecTV to say, oh, Dish actually has this on-demand service, this Blockbuster streaming that they throw in for free. That's pretty compelling. I don't think it's anything that people are going to compare to Netflix because it's tied to Dish and Netflix isn't. Netflix gives me the opportunity to pick Dish if I want. I can pick whatever I want because it's not tied to anything.
Well, what if Iyaz is right in that this is just them testing the water with their own subscribers, and
I
then
think, yeah.
6 months down the road, it's offered for anyone without a Dish subscription? Then
That's
are you
what's going to be interested. And they said, we will be offering a version of this to non-Dish subscribers, but they didn't say when and they didn't say how much. My guess is they can't offer this at less than $16 a month right now, and they have to make it comparable to Netflix. Right now, they're looking at it as a loss leader, saying, look, if we can bring people into spending money with our Dish subscription service, then it's worth putting out at $10 a month. But if we put it out as standalone, I bet they don't have the deals to keep this under $16.
Then they have a really limited selection. So once I figured this is also why they're doing the limited selection. So they only have 3,000
that's true
movies.
too, yeah.
So maybe when they go 6 months from now, when they go live for everybody, we have 20,000 movies now. This is great. We actually have people, and we have a selection. So I think I think it's a good first step. There needs to be more competition out there in this market anyway. So
it's like a half step. They haven't put their foot all the way down yet because for it to be a good first step, it's got to be available to non-Dish subscribers. So it's like they've started to step.
Well, it's like
they're almost down to the ground.
They're preaching to their
They
choir.
just need to put the foot all the way down to the ground.
If they can't convince current Dish
it's a
subscribers,
controlled fall is what it is.
Yeah.
And you just hope that they can land
Right
the
now,
foot.
they could still trip until that foot hits the ground. They could fall flat on their face.
analogy, dead.
Literally by falling down.
Right. They
Concussion.
fall down and like
You bled out.
break their neck.
Yeah. Sorry.
Diablo 3 is not coming this Christmas. Sorry.
Mother of pearl.
Oh, no.
Yes.
What
Many
shall we
people are
ever
saying
do?
similar things all across the land. Activision had hoped, actually, they'd even said in a press release, they hoped for a 2011 release. But Blizzard said no. That's not going to happen. Blizzard is owned by Activision, so one arm not talking to the other arm here.
And why is it not coming out?
Michael Morhaime, head of Blizzard, said, "We look forward to making the most of the extra time we're taking to deliver an experience that lives up to our vision for the game and the expectations of our players. Next year is going to be an incredibly busy one for Blizzard, and we hope an incredibly fun one for Blizzard gamers." So, like, look, we know we kind of disappointed you with Cataclysm, and we know we're delaying Diablo 3 until after the first of the year, and that's really sad. But next year, promise, just like Chicago Cubs fans, gonna be amazing.
It's like
Enjoy
Linux,
next
It's
year.
like Linux on the desktop.
Yes, next year is the year.
Now, if you say that, that's okay. If I say it, I'm going to get the hate mail.
They also said additional testing phases as well as
the one running
further
Linux.
details regarding the launch plans for the game are going to be announced at the website Diablo3.com. It does beg the question of what's going to be announced at BlizzCon at the end of October. If we already know
Betas.
Diablo 3, I mean, there's already betas. The people I know who are playing the betas say it's absolutely fabulous. They're loving the game.
Is that you, Tom?
No, actually, it's not. Thanks for rubbing it in my face.
Oh, is that why this is in the lineup, Tom?
No, I am not in the beta.
So what you're saying is Activision, I don't want a beta.
No, what I'm saying, Darren, is Activision Blizzard is making a very careful and, I think, responsible choice in delaying Diablo 3, and I support them in every way. Give me a beta.
I was about to say, you're going to work your ICQ number in there so you can send you a beta?
Give me a beta.
You can contact him at TNT@twit.tv.
No, I think it's going to be it's Blizzard fans are sort of at their wits' end. Blizzard has had this secret MMO project in the works for a long time, and nobody knows what it's called or what it's going to be about. So maybe it's been sucking all the air out of Blizzard, and it's going to be incredible. My guess lately has been we're going to see an MMO that doesn't have server realms. It's going to be an MMO where everybody's playing in the same world.
realm?
Yeah.
Are you going to put that on Amazon?
And it's going to be
AWS?
more realistic than a WoW or a Diablo or a StarCraft. It's going to be, world building. I'm reading Ream Deep by Neil Stephenson, so I think that's feeding a lot of my thoughts here.
Well, I mean, obviously it would be, more compelling because, being a PC game and whatnot. Just saying.
With more beta invites coming, is that going to keep people quiet and happy for now while people are waiting, or are they just going to lose their mind?
Well, you can't let them play the beta too much, because then they played too long for free that then they're all like, oh, well, I've already played that game, and then it comes out.
They limit the chapter you can play.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, you can't finish the game in the beta. But that doesn't mean that sending someone a beta wouldn't keep them quiet and happy, because it might.
TWiT, or with TNT at twit.tv.
Let's take a quick break and thank our sponsors at squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website or blog. I don't know how many different blogs I have whipped together on the spur of the moment, and they look incredible right out of the gate. If you check them out, squarespace.com is easy to use. The UI is very easy to catch on to. You put in your site name, you put in your posts, you can change the look, you can change the layout just by clicking a button, and they give you all kinds of importability so that you can bring your blog in. If you got a current blog at WordPress or Blogger or Movable Type or TypePad, but they don't lock you in. They believe in data portability. That's one of the big reasons I like them. The other big reason I like them is they've got a raft of servers that I don't have to maintain. So if your site gets hit with a lot of traffic, it's not going to go down. Squarespace is maintaining that stuff. I mean, they keep sites up for you. So check them out. If you want to use it, you don't have any risk. Go import your blog over there. Sign up at squarespace.com. You get a free trial that doesn't require a credit card or anything. You could see how it looks, see how you like it, and if you decide to keep it, use the code TNT9. I get 10% off for 6 months. That's squarespace.com. Use that offer code TNT9. Support Tech News today and get a great blog in the bargain. Seriously, go sign up right now. No risk. You don't have to spend a dime, and just see what you think of it. Create a site off the top of your head. If you had to create a site right now, what would you create?
HelloKittyBackpacks.com.
There you go. What would you create?
I would click beersforiyaz.squarespace.com.
You could do those like that. Squarespace.com. Offer code TNT9. We thank them for their support of Tech News Today. PC games are going to outsell console software. I know you were trying to transition me into this story.
Yeah.
In the Diablo discussion. But yeah, NVIDIA says, of course, they have a vested interest in selling a lot of gaming PCs because they make the graphics cards that go in them. But they said during a conference call with analysts that come 2014, more money will be spent on PC games than on games for consoles. This would go against the conventional wisdom that PC gaming is dying, although that's been changing in the last couple of years. People have started to realize that with things like Steam and with things like Blizzard and the Old Republic and other online MMOs, that PC gaming is having a resurgence.
And then does it? Well, of course it is, because consoles are just aging and aging and aging, and they're just getting worse every passing day that goes by. The Xbox 360 and the PS3 are that much more decrepit.
That's right. The games get worse. The graphics. Oh, wait a minute. No, they actually do get better. Every single generation of games, even with the PS3. Remember PS2, the final games of PS2, how great they looked compared to the first versions of the PS2? They looked worlds apart. The reason why console games are going to win, and NVIDIA is completely biased on this. The reason why console, because it's way easier. They've done so much more than just be a video game box. They get in people's houses easily, and then you go, hey, by the way, I can play a game on my Blu-ray player, or I can do that with my Xbox 360, or even watch Netflix.
This is where you're completely missing the boat, loving your console.
There's a boat?
Well, there's a PC boat, and you really need to get on it. See, okay, here's what it's like for a PC gamer. You see that whiz-bang new game?
Yeah.
And it looks way better than it ever would on a console, and you can make it look 8 or 9 times better than it would on a console. If you go out right now and buy yourself a $700 graphics card from NVIDIA, put it in your computer, buy the game for $50.
I can get like all the consoles for $700.
Yeah, but they won't look 8 to 9 times better.
That's true. I won't be able to like look at it at 60 frames per second with my dual screen monitor set up.
Think about this. Also, the titles on the PC. The PC is what brought you Zork, and I'm just sure NVIDIA is just hiding the fact that they are working on a port with anti-isotropic filtering and 8x anti-aliasing. Imagine what Zork would look like on a PC with a $700 graphics card.
I think it looks exactly the same.
No.
Probably can handle it.
No. The console couldn't.
I think a Wii could handle it at this point. You don't need that great.
How would a Wii render a Grue?
I don't know. Magically?
Darren wins.
Point.
I don't know why he wins, but he said we render a Grue, and that's
Point plaid.
That pretty much wins right there. All right, let's move on to support for quad-core ARM CPUs showing up in Apple's Xcode. This is interesting. An LLVM-based compiler, Clang, that's the default compiler in Apple's Xcode, was recently released. And a developer who works on low-level ARM assembly coding for security products told Ars Technica that support had been added for Armada's, that's a Marvell processor, Armada's Cortex A9 compatible processors in the latest version of Xcode. Now, Ars has confirmed this independently, they say. Only Apple's internally built Clang binaries can target code compilation for the Armada XP. So it's not like they're rolling this out to developers, but it's in there. So Ars Technica put forth a few theories of why this might have showed up. Scenario 1, Marvell Armada could be an answer to the NVIDIA Cal-L, which will definitely be rolling out in Android devices next year. So maybe the iPad 3 or possibly the iPhone next year would come with a quad-core Armada as the next, the A7 or whatever the next chip is in the line for that. You buy that?
I don't mean to.
We have three scenarios here.
Hang on, before you.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm thinking, of course, the iOS software is going to run on dual core, then quad core. It's just going to be the standard eventually. So I mean, even every phone is going to have quad core eventually, and be like, all right, is that a dual core phone? Forget that. I'm not going to use that. So I think eventually that's going to happen. Whether they partner with Marvell, I think that's likely because I don't see them working with NVIDIA about anything.
They could also be considering Marvell as a low-power battery life-enhancing processor for the MacBook Air.
So they would rewrite OS X for this architecture because isn't
possibly, yeah.
That's been a rumor for a while that OS X would either merge with iOS to the point where it could run on ARM, and I don't know if that's
come with it in tandem or do some sort of Rosetta-like thing where it emulates it to bring those apps.
I would see that. I could see a MacBook Air having.
Okay, so we say quad, we say possible quad core in a mobile device, maybe a MacBook Air. Darren laughs at us at both these. Why are you laughing?
I don't mean to burst your bubble, but we're talking about a dev kit here, and when you're programming for an embedded device that hasn't been released yet, what you end up developing for is these kind of general purpose development boards that have all of the features that you may possibly use, and you end up using like 5% of them, and then the chip comes out, and the compiler compiles the C code for it.
You and your reality.
So you're saying Apple might just be prototyping
They might just have a prototype.
I think what you're saying is that the MacBook Air is going to have both an ARM chip and
you're
an
right.
Intel
They're going to
chip,
ship it with a
so you can run
development
both
board.
on the same thing.
Yep.
Or actually real ARMs.
All of the new iPhones are going to have JTAG on the back of them. I'm just going to say.
All right, let's. You're probably right, Darren. It's probably just prototyping. It's fun to speculate, though.
Especially on a Friday.
Especially on a Friday.
I was about to say.
Let's finish up with Apple and Dropbox joining the Digital Due Process Coalition. This is a coalition noted specifically for their disapproval of the Electronic Communications Privacy Act on the part of law enforcement officials. The Electronic Communications Privacy Act was rolled out way back in 1986.
Oh, boy.
When there were very few cell phones. Most of them were like in cars on dashboards, big bricks with power cords coming out of them.
These are laws to prosecute beige boxers.
They failed to address location-based services. They don't provide guidance on whether the government needs a warrant to track cell phones, and they fail to adequately protect folks from the seizure of email and instant messaging chats because none of that stuff was even thought of as a problem in 1986. So what the coalition is doing is pushing for a new law to be created to protect the rights of citizens while giving law enforcement useful tools to pursue criminals. Apple joining is a big deal. Amazon is the other big name that's already a part of this coalition. So Apple's providing a lot of firepower here. And of course, the usual suspects like the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the ACLU, are already part of this coalition. Dropbox, I think, joins because they want to make sure people understand that they are actually trying to fight for your privacy since they've been under the gun for possible privacy violations in the past.
Unlike people like SpiderOak, where it's implicitly, as part of the code base.
I think Dropbox wanted just the headline.
Yeah.
It says the word Dropbox and privacy in the same headline. The thing is,
sure.
I doubt Apple's doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. They just want to know, look, if you want to investigate us about keeping location data, if you want to keep coming at us and we have to come to hearings all the time, we'd like to know what exactly you want in the first place. Well, because there's nothing out there for them to actually
Apple
go
is
against.
actually very, very protective of the privacy of their clients. That's one of the reasons that they didn't have a deal with Facebook. Facebook was supposed to be integrated into Ping, and Facebook said, well, we have to have all this information, and Apple said, you can't have it. So Apple is very... they use the information for their own purposes. So that, like you say, it's not just out of the goodness of their heart, but they are very protective of that information. And I think they want to fight to clarify when they have to give up information to law enforcement and when they haven't. We talked about that law case earlier this week that is trying to determine whether tracking a cell phone's location just based on its signal is a pen register or something that requires a warrant.
Right, the whole Stingray case. So this probably means that Apple under Tim Cook is still very similar to the way the Jobs had it. The way they have this idea of location is important. We don't want to be giving out this data like they didn't want with Facebook.
If you look at the EFF site where they actually show the companies that are involved in this, and they're awarding gold stars for companies that have decided to either one, tell users about their data demands, or two, be transparent about government requests, or three, fight for user privacy in the courts, or four, and this is the one that most everybody has, is fight for users' privacy in Congress. And that seems to be like, level 2 paladin status, where you just, you swing and you sign the thing and you're like, yeah, we're in. And it just kind of seems like the easy one to get in and be like, see, we're on the list. And I'll be more excited when Apple and Dropbox, become transparent about government requests and the rest of the columns here and stars.
Well, I think you cannot condemn them for taking this step, though. It's good to join, but you're right. It's easy to join.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's harder to do. Let's move on to the news views. Come on, jump! Go.
Then the screen blew up.
A UBS survey of 500 smartphone users says iPhone users are the most loyal, with a whopping 89% likely to buy the next iPhone to replace their current one. Damn, that's
89%
crazy talk. Yeah. Android users don't have the same kind of loyalty to hardware, but they like the OS. 55% of Android users will stick to Android. A year and a half ago, RIM had a 62% retention rate. It has fallen to 33%. Not good news for RIM.
Spotify's free service is now open to everyone without an invite. There's a catch. You'll have to go through Facebook, but it's still free. If you're all right with that, for 6 months, you'll get unlimited access to Spotify's catalog before reality sets in. After the 6 months, you'll be knocked back to 10 hours per month. So enjoy it now.
Microsoft says that Windows 8's reliance on using UEFI secure boot is not aimed at shutting out other operating systems. It's to keep Windows 8 secure. Red Hat developer Matthew Garrett and Microsoft are going back and forth via blog posts about the matter. Garrett is convinced that Microsoft is trying to solidify its market share. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I didn't see anything in the Windows response and the Microsoft response from Sinofsky that contradicted what Garrett wrote at all. Yeah, but the issue, as we explained it on the show, is that an OEM can ship firmware that doesn't give you the ability to shut off secure boot and therefore prevents you from installing any other operating system.
Which is why you build your own computer, because then you would... If I'm reading it correctly, then you would have the key.
Yeah, you would. It does say,
it
basically forces you to build your own computer.
Right, and kind of it does, which really sucks for the whole laptop thing. But Linux can take advantage of this UEFI stuff too.
It can. It's possible, but there are GPL implications to that Garrett explains.
There are always GPL implications.
There's a snag in iOS in-app purchasing. You probably haven't noticed it because it won't stop you from making an in-app purchase, but developers say the verify receipt function isn't functioning. They're receiving an error message, which means they can't be sure if payments are valid or faked. The function has been broken since Thursday night. Now, the bug doesn't affect all apps, so it could still be due to possible programming errors. We're still waiting for a response from Apple.
Start your fuzzers.
New Yorkers, mark September 27th on your calendars because you'll be able to use your cell phone in a total of 4 subway stations in Chelsea. Woo-hoo. You'll have to use AT&T or T-Mobile to connect, and wireless access does not work in tunnels. But this is part of a pilot program by the MTA that will hopefully lead to an expansion. So good on you, New York.
Let me tell you, man, the first time they made cell service, data service available in the BART stations in San Francisco, it was like a revelation. And it wasn't in that many stations, but just if it's in the station that you're waiting at and you're like, oh my God,
I still have signal.
I have access. It's an incredible feeling. And when I visit New York and I go in the subways, I'm like, oh, right, I'm living in the past.
You just have to stand by the stairs really close to the exit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I used to do. Like,
you have to go find a stairwell. You used to have to do that in San Francisco.
I thought I actually heard you say Chelsea and the subway, and it was like, wait, the tube goes there?
The tube.
Anyway, Mac malware pretending to be a PDF has been found by F-Secure, and the malware is called Trojan Dropper OS X Riviera A.
REVIR.A.
Sure. They always have the best names, which installs a backdoor. So far, the backdoor doesn't actually do anything, but there is no there's no communication to the outside world. F-Secure is not sure how this malware is spreading, but it thinks it's probably via email attachments. So just going to reinforce the old adage that there's no patch for human stupidity.
Guess what, OS X users? You too can join in the refrain, don't open attachments. It's time for Patent Wars. VIA is suing Apple, saying the iPad, iPod, iPhone, and Apple TV all infringe on VIA's patents. Those patents cover a method and apparatus for double operand load, the famous operand load. And I've lost my place.
An instruction set.
And an instruction set for bidirectional conversion. Doing that voice makes you blind, apparently. An instruction set for bidirectional conversion and transfer of integer and floating point data. Exactly. No, nobody could have thought of that. Sounds like an open and shut case to me.
Clearly. I mean, when I think iPad, I think of bidirectional conversion and transfer of integer and floating data.
I look at that operand conversion and I go, wait, VIA did that first.
Yeah. Totally.
I mean, they've been inversing.
Obvious. Oh, wait.
They've been inversing
don't use the word obvious.
tachyon pulses since before you were born.
The head of Samsung's global marketing says the company will become more aggressive in taking on Apple on their patent squabbles. Lee Yong-hee says that Apple has been free-riding on Samsung's wireless communications patents. Quote, we'll be pursuing our rights for this in a more aggressive way from now on. How is that even possible?
Well, Darren, we go to Darren to tell you how that may be possible.
Perhaps part of Samsung's more aggressive stance, Samsung has sued Apple in the Netherlands. There are 4 different suits revolving around 3G technology and in the iPad and the iPhone, and the cases are scheduled September 26th.
And don't forget, they're asking that the iPhone and the iPad be banned from sale, just like Apple asked for the Samsung Galaxy.
These two hate each other
like,
so much.
How you like that now?
And yet they're business partners.
They just have to get together.
Oh, man.
They need to
It's
work
sexual tension.
Yeah, I
is
was
that what
about
you're
to
saying?
say that's what it sounds like.
It's like moonlighting.
Get a room, Samsung
come
and
on,
Apple.
guys.
Let's move on to the randomizer.
Ooh, that's Technolust.
Randomizer.
This has been kicking around for a week here, but we haven't had a chance to get to it until today. The project to build the Charles Babbage analytical engine had tried to get started about a year ago and didn't happen. It has now gotten a boost. Last October, John Graham Cumming began his campaign to fund the manufacturer. He came on to TWiT and talked about it. We talked about it to him here. In the meantime, he has now partnered with the Computer Conservation Society to get advice on running the project. He's also persuaded the Science Museum to assist with the first step towards making the machine, and the museum has begun digitizing Babbage's original notebooks. So he's finally got the project moving towards building. It's like a real-life Neil Stephenson plot point.
If you're not familiar with the analytical engine, it's the second machine that Charles Babbage invented, the first being the difference engine. And what's interesting about this is it has 675 bytes of data in the equivalent of 7 hertz.
And Graham Cumming...
That's 7 cycles per second.
Graham Cumming points out that notebooks, letters, and plans that have been carefully preserved by the museum will finally see the light of day for other people to look at using technology Babbage caught just a glimpse of when he was thinking of the analytical engine. Because in order to build this, they're scanning all the digital files and they're going to make them available to the public.
Open source. I love open source hardware.
Babbage
So
is
good.
open source.
There you go.
Go Babbage. Let's check the calendar.
Monday, September 26th, President Obama will get social with a LinkedIn town hall in Mountain View, California. It'll be live streamed at whitehouse.gov/live at 11 a.m. Pacific. Also on the 26th, Cellular South will rebrand itself C-Spire, that's the letter C, to bring personalized wireless
I wonder
service.
if C-SPAN will sue them.
No, they won't. And now on the 27th, by the way, on Tuesday, I think that is, a leaked AT&T memo says Mango updates are coming to its Windows phones. So check that out.
Incoming! That's the name of our feedback section.
You should always jump back.
We start with a voicemail about the whole pronunciation of the name of the former CEO of HP.
Apothecary.
Mr. Leo... I'm not going to say his name. We'll play the voicemail instead.
Hi, guys. This is Julian in Seattle of Sugar Mountain
fame. And I'm going to
right.
continue in that vein and explain
Zuckerberg.
another German name that, Tom, you said you had problems pronouncing yesterday. Mr. Apotheker, of course, of HP fame. The name is pronounced Apotheker in Germany, which means pharmacist. So here's another piece of trivia about these funny German names we have in our culture around here. Thanks. Enjoy the show. See you soon.
Yes, because we found that Zuckerberg means Sugar Mountain, thanks to this caller. And now we know Apotheker means pharmacist. Dave in Germany actually pointed out if you Google Translate pharmacist, you will get the ability to click on a button, and it says Apotheker for you. And
Why don't you try that out?
You can play it anytime you want.
Nice. Das ist sehr interessant.
On to the next email.
Sure. Let's talk about Michael. Michael sent us an email. AT&T crew, yesterday you... I guess it's not working. Yesterday you discussed if Amazon might be interested in buying Netflix. As you know, we don't have Netflix here in the UK, but a similar service called Love Film, which also operates in other countries in the EU. Interestingly, Love Film was bought by Amazon earlier this year. If Amazon would buy Netflix, they would be the major player in movie streaming both in the US and here in Europe. Maybe this would also give it more leverage in negotiations with the movie studios. Just a thought.
Yeah, I saw someone in the chat room saying that, you know, and don't forget Amazon owns Love Film, and I meant to bring it up. So I'm glad that Michael wrote in and pointed that out. They if they did buy Netflix, and again, this is all rumor, then they could possibly integrate Netflix with Love Film and have a worldwide system. But they obviously already know a little bit about this business, so they're not coming to it cold.
I like Michael's point that even if they did do that, that they would have a lot more leverage in negotiations. So like, look, we have worldwide reach. You should really start negotiating with us.
Thanks to everybody on our Reddit, technewstoday.reddit.com. That's where you can go and submit stories for us to cover. Captain Kipper, MacBite, Sky Jedi, Iceberg, S. Barona, Sumu, and Tai2 Runner all submitted stories today. You can submit stories or vote things up or down, technewstoday.reddit.com. Appreciate the help in figuring out what to cover each day. There's so much good tech news out there. In fact, there's so much good tech news that the stuff we can't get to spills over into a show on Friday mornings at 9:30 a.m. at live.twit.tv. Iyaz, along with a couple of fantastic co-hosts.
Tony Wang and Liz Romero, we do a show called In Other News. Right now we're still in an alpha, moving towards a beta. It might actually be a podcast relatively soon. So show up on Fridays, 9:30 Pacific, and find out what stories are being overshadowed by monstrous happenings like HP firing CEOs.
It's kind of like the page 2 of tech news. It's awesome. Don't also forget Hack 5. With
Would you like to find out how to build yourself some airfoils with open source software?
Tell me more.
Well, these airfoils could potentially fly. You can find out.
I would like to fly.
You could make that. You could find out how to make that happen at hack5.org this week. And then next weekend, we'll be at DerbyCon in Louisville, Kentucky. So if you're going to be there, come by and say hey.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. We appreciate you riding along with us every day of every week. Tech News Today is found on the web at twit.tv/TNT. That's where you can find links to everything we talk about in the show, as well as links to our wiki. You can also give us a call, leave us a voicemail like our friends did today. 260-TNT Show is the Google voicemail number. And you can email us, by sending your eels
to
TNT at
yummy.
twit.tv.
Or drawings of eels. I'd love to see drawings of eels. Just
Nilay
eels.
Patel from This Is My Next joins us on Monday. We will see you then.
Unagi.